This is another video for a 2018 Honda Odyssey with the sliding doors not working like they should. This particular problem had the door, it would get close to closing and then it would sound like the motor was binding up, you know, like the too much pressure sensor, and then it would open back up, or vice versa. It would get almost open and then would sound like the motor was getting bound up, and then it would close back. So one or the other. So it worked itself out for just a little bit and then it changed. One thing I did notice in the process of figuring things out and what needed to happen was we heard a metal to metal noise and figured out this cable trying to show you right here is bare, and it has ground itself into, sorry for the movement, into the van door right there. You can kind of see the grooves that we're getting. So I ordered a new cable kit from eBay to see what we got to do. You can see hopefully right here, that's how the cable's supposed to look, not a bare wire. So I followed the video for the 2017 Odyssey cable replacement from Raybuck Auto Parts, and it got me, and that was for a 2017 Odyssey, and it got me all the way to where the motor is. So the motor for the 2018 is behind here, is where it sits. It's not out in front like the 2017s. So you don't have to worry about taking anything off over here like in that video, because there's nothing to take off. This is a solid piece. So there is 3 bolts, one here, one down here, and one that's hidden right in here. And you can see they have these little locking tabs that kind of help hold the motor in place. So once you get those out, you can kind of shimmy it back. And I should have taken a video of all this, but I didn't. But there is a cover right here, and you can shimmy or slide the motor around to be able to take the screws out from the different holes here. Once you do, be ready, because it's going to all pop out. So what I found whenever I started pulling the motor apart, or the pulley apart here, was that the cable had shredded and was binding up inside the pulley, and it's also caterpillared itself on the line itself, or on the wire. So that would be where the pressure resistance was coming from. So I'm going to try and keep you updated now that I'm in the middle of it on replacing this cable and how it goes. So I ran into the problem where the cable was so bound up trying to come out of the access hole here that leads to the cable track. I had to cut it to be able to move the hinge, or the slider hinge for the door, and then you move it up. Let me give you a reference point here. If you move it, you have to move it up here. I rolled the window down before I got started, which helps out to be able to lift up and pull out. So what I did find out is the cable end is slotted. So it goes on and turns for the 2018, or at least the model I have. The cable that I ordered on eBay is a round piece that goes into a pocket like on the 2017s and older. So I'm gonna try and find that end and see what the part number is and see who has it. Back again after a couple days of looking. For the 2018 Odysseys, you cannot buy just the ends. So called the dealership, had them look it up, and from what they said, you cannot find these ends by themselves yet. Said it's not an option, and I haven't been able to find anybody making an aftermarket end at this point. So you got to buy the whole motor and cable assembly just for that end right there. So found one on eBay off of a used van and saved at least 150 bucks on that over the dealership. So just keep your eyes open if you have to change this out. So I've already got the side off, the side trim, and coming around here, got the door supported on the jack, and not able to pull the pin on this model. So all you got to do is back off these 2 bolts right here, and the hinge will come off, and then you can slide this hinge all the way. I'll go ahead and take this out. All right, the door is free. So what you can do is you'll have to kind of shimmy your jack over to make enough room for the door. So just be careful when you move it. Once you have the door free, you'll want to be able to slide it on up until it's got about, I don't know, that much clearance. And on your jack, you're gonna have to take and flare your door out enough and support it to be able to run the hinge along this track to where it comes out under the window, and then it pulls out. You can see right here on the bottom, that's where those ends connect to. So we'll keep working. Once you get the door set, then you'll move in and start running your wire from behind here. So this is the motor here. So we'll go ahead and try and mount that as I go. Probably mount that first, but first you got to run the line here. There was a little bracket or a little pop tack there for this electrical. You'll have to move that to be able to get this big mounting bracket that goes here at the door. So we'll pull that through. Now that it's through, get the motor mounted back up on the back side and keep pulling cables. So then you take the front one here, run the bracket through, and then you'll put that on there and put your nuts back on. Then on the back, you'll have to move this piece here, and to be able to get to the bolts there, you can take it. I'll try and hold the camera more steady. Might not work. And feed your wire through, and then bolt it up on those 2 bolts, and then you can run to the outside and we'll find our ends to connect to the hinge. Got the cable pulled through. You see that hole right there. If you're looking from the back, there's a little hole right there. What I had to do to get the new cable through was to take a wire and push through that hole towards the back and find it, and then tape the new wire onto my pull wire and pull it through, and then you can run it through your track right here up to your hinge. And then, just so you know, it will be tight, but but you can take these wires and they have a little bit of give to them due to the spring in the motor to create tension. So you can pull those wires out enough. What I used was a set of locking needle nose pliers on the cable end to be able to pull it out and twist it enough to get it to lock, and it worked. So now you get to put this back on the door and plug the cables up and see if it works. All right, got everything put back together and the door is working good. So seats back in and closes up. Works like it should.